back on the Boulevard Thursday, May 8th. As always, here to prove to you there is no such thing as football season. We're presented by the Believe Network tonight. It is make or break time in the UFL. Who's going to rise to the occasion? Several teams losing their stars to injury, but probably the biggest of them all, Matt Corral, done in Stallion Land. Can the tour for four continue, or is it time to crown a new champion, TPG?
Well, I think this race is still kind of wide open, and I'm excited to see how this is going to play out. So I'm not going to count them out completely yet, but I think some other teams are showing some better things when it comes to these games. But I do want to say, Matt, I'm in a little bit of a doghouse right now with my mom because I asked her if I could skip Mother's Day brunch to go to Memphis for the $2 beers and hot dogs to see my Battlehawks play. And yeah, she got super pissed at me saying like, hey, you're always watching these damn games. Like you're always recording. You're always on the phone with Matty Fresh. Like what are you doing? So unfortunately, no, I will not be in Memphis this week. And I gotta, attend Mother's Day brunch because, this UFL season's really ruining my relationship with my mother. It's a sad thing, but you know what? It's for the love of football, right?
Well, you better not get your ass kicked out of your mom's basement now because I'm not renting a studio space for you. The income for Springball, the bets have been okay, but we haven't been that good to start renting you studio space. So you better get a good gift for mom coming up.
Oh, I do. I do got a good gift.
It's not a $2 Coors Light either.
I think it's actually getting delivered today. So, yeah, that'll be nice.
Well, let's see where we stand heading into Week 7. Birmingham with the head-to-head tiebreaker over Michigan at 4-2. In the USFL side, Houston hanging around at 3-3. Memphis is 1-5. On the XFL side, a lot of chatter, TPG. The league is setting it up for St. Louis to ride off into the sunset. I'm hearing about proposed changes to playoff formats being denied mid-season. Now DC all of a sudden might not be able to host a playoff game. What is going on here with this Battlehawk bias creeping into the integrity of our league?
Well, everyone, wants to throw their hands up and say like, oh, it's all rigged for the Battlehawks. Well, people forget that like 2022, when the Stallions won the USFL, where was that hub at? Birmingham, Alabama. They played all 10 home games in Birmingham. And same thing with the XFL in 2023. The league literally rigged it for Arlington to win by saying, hey, Prez, we're just going to put you on this team and trade you for a second string linebacker that's never played. So I'm sick and tired of hearing this, oh, it's Battlehawks, all this BS, because this is the type of shit that they do. And that's what happens when you have a single owner. Like, you can do whatever you want. So, hey, everyone else is just mad because, the Battlehawks have the best team, they have the best fan base, they have the best game day environment, and, the rest of the league is, leaps and bounds behind that.
Lowest alcohol tolerance, you forgot.
Yeah, sure.
Can't be getting smacked in the Battle Dome. Come on now. Well, on a different note, we've been looking forward to this one all week. Not just any special guest on the Boulevard tonight. We are joined by the UFL MVP favorite, fresh off one of the most impressive spring football performances by a quarterback I've ever seen. Enjoy. Joined now by Michigan Panthers quarterback and UFL Offensive Player of the Week, Bryce Perkins. Bryce, thanks for being here with us today.
Man, appreciate y'all, man. Happy to be here. Let's get into it for sure.
So 3 out of the 4 last Offensive Player of the Week awards. I think at this point they ought to just name the award after you.
I mean, man, first, all glory to God for sure. And also, man, like, these guys, who I'm around, do a great job of making plays. None of it happens without the guys up front, the guys catching, balls, hard, contested catches too as well, So it's I am the one that receiving the award, but truly, and I mean this sincerely, that like, without those guys, making their plays, it doesn't happen. So excited to be, we're not satisfied as far as, we want to win the big one, right? And that's kind of what we're working forward. And it's nice to have been able to put some good things on tape as an offense, and as a team too as well, over these last couple weeks, even though we're losing that one in St. Louis.
Yeah, and I have to say, man, as a DC guy, yeah, just watching you just tear my heart out with every big play that offense made, it was pretty rough, but I had a couple days to move on. So my first question is, if you had to guess how many tackles you broke, because I went back and watched it, how many tackles you broke on Sunday, what would you say?
Oh, I have no idea. Probably what, like, yeah, five,
21.
21.
If you count the times where someone got a finger on you, maybe I was a little generous, but I'm telling you what, it was 21. And that was an insane game. As that game's unfolding for you in the moment, are you feeling like, damn, this is the best I ever played? Like, I can't be stopped right now.
I mean, really, kind of after every one is just, hey, we got to score the next drive. Like, and just from watching how explosive DC's offense, is, and watching the game they had against the previous week with Arlington, and how the game can flip just like that. After every one, it's like, okay, cool. Okay, that we got to go back and do it again because we don't know it. And, and our defense is amazing too. Sometimes just plays happen. That the defense can make play. I mean, the offense can make plays. Total faith in our defense, but knowing this league with the 9 points as well, you're never out of a game. So it was like, hey, we got to go back and do it again. And things were just clicking that night. And biggest thing was just trying to keep my eyes on the field too. Those broken tackles are nice. You don't want to live off those, as a quarterback, the whole rest of the year. So when those plays come up, they come up, then it is nice too as well, just to get the ball somewhere else and let those guys who are a little more stocky take the brunt of it.
Yeah, and DC head coach Shannon Harris had actually said in an interview this week with James Larson from Pro Football Newsroom that he said, and I quote, Michigan didn't beat us. Fundamentals beat us. We had plays where we were right there to make the tackle, but we didn't. He said nothing schematically Michigan did beat us. It all goes back to fundamentals. I love Coach Harris. I'll be honest, Bryce, watching the game, I didn't really see it that way, especially on that first drive. You guys kind of go right down the field, not like you were really making anybody miss there, just kind of running a really good offense. Do you feel like, the game came down to the plays that you were able to make, or did you feel pretty comfortable in the game plan and not having to go too much outside of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think our game plan was solid. We do a lot of different things on offense that's hard to stop, and um, as well too. I mean, they are a great team, up front. They do a lot of great things, right? And then allows them to play, a little more sticky on the secondary, right? But as well, kind of understanding that and how defense, wants to play and rely on the front. When things break down, those are the big plays that kind of you see giving up. The rush lanes by the quarterback, as well too. So that's a part of the game plan, on our side too as well. Like we understand the holes and the laps and different coverages that they try to play, and a lot of it is if you can get past that front, which they have a very good front, a lot of things open up on the secondary level, but. Our offense is designed to cause, teams problems, especially in the RPO game, our run game, definitely puts a lot of people in different bunts. So, we do a great job of kind of dressing a lot of things up. And I think, schematic wise, we executed on a level that we needed to. And then every game, all the time, those plays are going to show up where, hey, you got to make a play, make the ordinary, and then you got to be the one to make the extraordinary plays as well. And when those plays come up, you got to make them, because on our side too as defense, we kind of had a mishap on defense, right, which led to a touchdown on their side. So, those mistakes happen on both sides, right? And it's not just one side. When you lose, it's just everything happened to us. We made mistakes too on our side too that could have led to more points. On offensive wise, we had 31. I missed a flat read, which would have guided and probably would have turned up. So it's all when you watch the film, everything kind of shows up too as well.
Yeah, and just watching this offense improve every week. Obviously, you see you guys set the UFL record for this season for total points in a game. I've watched this come together, and I'll admit I kind of overlooked the Michigan Panthers. I think coming into the season and early on in the season. I think for me personally, it all stemmed from the quarterback rotation, where early on it seemed like you could never get a leg up no matter how good you played. So I know you can't speak for coaches and you can only speak for yourself, and I understand that, but I have to ask because everybody wants to know here. Was there something that, fans who are watching you or watching the Panthers were missing? Maybe whether it was in practice or in the games. Was it something that you were struggling with, or was it less of a criticism of you and more of a compliment of Danny and like coaches wanting Danny to be on the field, at points?
And Danny's a hell of a player, man. He's smart. He's a great competitor. And even last year, got into the playoffs, won 5 straight. Danny was at the helm. Got into the playoffs, was up 18-0, I think, against Birmingham, right? And then coming into this one, when we competed, going back and forth, and it was, a lot of days that he won, and then there was days that I won too as well. So it was going back and forth. And especially in a league like this, it's all about opportunity, right? And I think it was a testament to him and who he was, and nothing that necessarily I was doing. But wanted to take the competition to the game, right? And I think coaches wanted to fairly be able to give both of us a shot, and then it came down just to quarterback's just a rhythm position, and if you're not in rhythm all the time, it's hard to go out there and make plays, and I think that it came down to a lot of rhythm factors, which was able to capitalize off some of the plays and drives that I was able to be in there. So I think coaches made a decision, off that. But great player, man, and it wasn't nothing that necessarily I was doing, but just a testament to who he is.
Yeah, we talk about your ability on the field. Kind of want to get into your leadership off the field. I think there was a turning point for you guys when you come out of that St. Louis game. It's a rough loss. You have the incident with Samson Nakua after the game. How did you make sure, as one of the leaders on this team, that all that social media noise and all that noise in the news was blocked out of the locker room so that you guys could prepare for DC in what became one of your biggest games of the season?
Yeah, it was really just, man, like eye-opening for us to be like, hey, man, like, hey, we're a great offense. We can move the ball. We can do a lot of different things. St. Louis is a great offense. I mean, a great defense. And for us to, come out of that game, I think we had 400 yards. It was like, hey, this is who we can be at our best. So let's make sure, practice one, hey, we're dialed in, right? Because, we see you can go up and down in this league, and it's kind of being consistent, being prepared. And then also, Samson, he knows he already knows everybody talks. He knows he couldn't do the things. I mean, he actually came in and apologized, to the guys. I think as soon as it happened, and then he did his part too as well. He wasn't sitting around like, I got a free week off or whatever. He was in practice giving guys great looks, right? He had fresh legs, so he was be able to help prepare the team as well too. And I think a testament to the guys in the leadership too as well. Guys understand and want to play and want to be the best they themselves that they can be to be able to help the team. And it's a very selfless group, and our coaches do a great job too. And I think we have one of the best coaching staffs in the league as far as helping players and taking care of the bodies and making sure that we're fair.
Yeah, and anybody who's watching this, gets the sense that you are laser focused right now on winning this UFL title. Obviously, that's item number one, but I do want to talk a little bit about your NFL future. I think fans like myself, we sometimes get the sense that, we see you make these plays, the plays where you're making guys miss left and right, And we're thinking ultimately those are the plays that are going to have the NFL picking up the phone and calling you. Maybe that's an overreaction, but I'm curious from your experience because I can't personally figure it out. What are NFL teams looking at when it comes to your game, and what feedback have you kind of gotten from your time with the Rams and then going forward here and trying to get back into the league?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think from my time in there, I think the feedback is hey, you got to be accurate. You got to take care of the ball. I mean, that's number one, right? Got to take care of the ball and also know what's going on. Like, why are you going where you're going, right? When mistakes happen, because mistakes happen. Oh, what got you there? Okay, what did you see here, right? And be able to have a sense of the operation of the offense and also understanding of the defense too as well. Like that helps. NFL teams like know and say, okay, well, you had a rhyme and a reason to get here, right? Oh, you understand what we're trying to get accomplished. Oh, you understand that hey, oh, hey, when they went to this different look, you were trying to exploit this, right? And if sometimes it doesn't work, but at least you have a rhyme and reason. And I think in my game, after I started against the Chiefs, kind of just was bad preparation and just kind of wasn't able to rise up to the occasion. I definitely was able to go back and sharpen different areas of my game too as well. That has helped me prepare and elevate. When I'm on the field too as well. So, going to this year, definitely, hey, take care of the ball first and foremost, man. Be accurate in the short, medium, and long game, and when those plays arise, there's plays on the field every game. You don't have to go reaching for them, but there's plays, even if it's just one play where you have to make a play where it's just a play that only you can make, right? And it's sometimes it comes down just hey, you have to be and rise above the occasion and make that play. And when those plays come up, when you make them, I think it sparks life in yourself, but also the team too as well. And it allows the team to feed off that. And when you're watching, players, you look at it as like, hey, there's something special about what he does. Right? There is something that in his game that he does better than anybody else. And quarterback wise, but everything like linemen, receivers, DB linebackers, those plays and those attributes that jump off the tape really get a notice from teams because it's something special that you do, and that's just a cherry on top of all the basic fundamental reads and different plays that you make throughout the course of a game as well. So,
All right, my co-host TPG had a couple questions for you. TPG, go right ahead, man.
How's it going, Bryce? Really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to come chat with us for a bit.
For sure. Thank you.
So I'm actually pretty familiar with your high school, Chandler High. I played college ball with a couple guys that went there. So I've known about who you are as a player for a while, and it's kind of been really awesome seeing you progress through college and the pros.
Yeah, no, of course, man. What where do you go to college at? Where do you go to school
I
at?
went to Lake Forest College up on the north side of Chicago. I played with a couple
Okay.
couple kids that
Yeah.
four kids that went up there and played. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
man.
known about Chandler High
Long
for a
journey,
while.
man. Crazy how the
I
sports
know.
world works, man.
It
It's
really
super
is. It
small.
really
It's
is.
super small.
You get to meet, people from all across the country. It's pretty
100%.
wild. So
That's beautiful.
so you go to Chandler and you kind of put that high school in the map in my opinion, because it seems like ever since you won a state title there, they've been either going to state or winning state every other year. And so post college, you decide to stay in state and go to ASU. And unfortunately at ASU, you break your neck and you're forced to kind of go the JUCO route from there.
Mhm.
So can you walk us through kind of what that process was like, the adversity you faced and how that shaped you into the person you are today?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen, without a good foundation. My family definitely has instilled a lot of different characteristics of hard work, perseverance, and being right there. When I was going through the two-level neck fracture, when I had the full body brace on, when I was trying to decide if I was going to play football again or didn't know if I was going to play football again, they were right there, motivating me and keeping me sane throughout it all. Um, and just letting me know, like, hey, whatever you do, understand, just go do it, and whatever unfolds unfolds. But if you have something in your heart to go do, just do it. If you still want to play football, go do it. So taking a risk and going to JUCO was hard, not knowing, what was on the other side. But that experience has allowed me in everything after that, understand it doesn't always unfold how you picture it, right? But it does unfold how you need it to unfold, right? And I look after I left JUCO, and understood like I needed that. I needed to leave Arizona State. I needed to go to JUCO so I can get to Virginia. Like all those things were necessary for my journey, my personal journey, and my football journey as well. I've grown so much as a person from that. And then when later things come up in life that spark adversity, you can fall back on those hardships that you went through previously, right? And that gives you strength to understand, like, hey, nothing's forever. You've been through something like this before and understood that it passed, right? So keep working. What did you do last time? You can lean on those previous lessons that you did and other hardships to be able to, give you strength in those moments. So going, coming out in COVID year, not going to combine, not getting a pro day, then going undrafted, and then trying to make the team and having to beat, guys out, and, just, constant adversity, challenges, obstacles, right? All of it. You know, and the more you survive in advance, the more confidence you can get that you can go through anything, right? And for me, even coming here, it was like I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if I'm gonna get a shot, right? But I know I'm just gonna go there. I'm gonna work my ass off, man. I'm a grow closer to God. I'm gonna grow closer to these guys. I'm gonna try to serve and do everything that I can, off the field. I'm gonna learn whatever my assignment is here, to do it, and I'm gonna give everything I have, on this field to be able to give myself the best shot. And then after that, you let the chips fall where they fall, but you don't get to that point without going through adversity and understanding that, hey, there's a purpose to everything that you're going through, and later you will understand. But for right now, you just gotta roll with the punches.
Well, it sounds like it's been a hell of a journey, and we're so happy to have you in the UFL. You're making plays every weekend, and really providing us fans with some great memories watching this league. And obviously, best of luck to you trying to get back to the next level. So getting more into your team, right? So not only have you had an amazing season, but your running backs and your offensive line have also been on a different level too. So can you speak on like the attitude and preparation these guys have, and how has that allowed you to kind of play more freely in this offense?
Yeah, man, it all works together. When the running game is so effective, it makes everything passing wise so easy. It takes a lot of guys, puts them in the box, leaves a lot of one-on-ones outside, leaves a lot of leverage throws, for guys that get caught in the backfield. Our running backs do a great job of getting to the second level, breaking tackles too as well. It's always, they're making one guy miss on a regular occasion, on that second level. And those guys do a great job prep too as well. And hard too, that they're hard on themselves. They want to get better. They're very detail oriented. And our line, man, is amazing. Like those group of guys, they're a joy to be around. Noah is an amazing center. He understands ball so much, man. He's a great person too, as well. Makes it easy back there, for me, getting everybody, where they need to be, and making, like the calls, and doing everything that he can to be the best person that he can be too, as well. Makes everything, around us, right? Makes everything that much easier. When you have guys that are willing to commit to, greatness like that. And those guys, man, hey, you better come with the right intentions, because those guys, they'll come off and knock you in the mouth too. So, when you got a line like that, man, it's fun to be behind it.
Yeah, in my opinion, definitely, I think you guys have one of the best O lines in the league, and it's no surprise you guys are having the success you guys are having, because those guys have just been, the aggressors week in and week out. So, you played a couple seasons in the NFL. So, what was it like being on the Rams and playing for Coach Sean McVay?
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, it was fun. I learned so much, about myself and about football, and just being in that room, being with Matty Stafford, and then also being with Jared Goff for my first year there. It shows just how fast, what Sean's mind moves, man. His mind moves like 100 miles per hour. He's so smart, so calculated with how he wants to attack defenses, and he understands, how to get the best, out of each player. I mean, he's a younger coach. I mean, I guess he's probably still young, but he was definitely one of the youngest coaches when I was there, and him just being able to understand different personalities, how to manage different guys, but also how to draw the best out of everybody in his team. It was definitely something that he was really good and really special about, and it made me a better player too as well. Coming out of college, my football knowledge wasn't all, that wasn't where it needed to be a NFL quarterback. But, being there and just watching, observing, allowed me to grow and get, a lot of the mental reps and become more knowledgeable about the game, about spaces, about leverages, about coverages, about protections, right, and everything like that. And how they do it over there is definitely special. And then you see, the success that he has, but also the tree has too as well, right? Coaches that have coached under him and go different places have success just because of how he teaches the system and how he orchestrates the offense, to be successful.
Well, I was doing a little bit of research on you before, and I noticed back in high school and college you had these really nice sick dreads. Like, have you ever thought about bringing these back, or?
Nah, man, they're gone for. But I got them in a bag though, man. So if I ever need to reattach them, I definitely have them at my disposal.
Well, I'd love to see you bring them back out. Those were they were good looking. Coming out of the back of the helmet, I mean, that was awesome.
They were pulling. I mean, a few of them got ripped out in a game before.
I can imagine, yeah.
Some of them they were, pulling my hair a little bit, man. So I had them long enough, and I was just like, it's time for them to go. So, now it's a little easier to maintain, for sure.
Appreciate your time, Bryce, and best of luck this week in Arlington.
That is Bryce Perkins, Michigan Panthers quarterback and now 3-time UFL Offensive Player of the Week. Big game coming up Saturday at the UFL HQ. Panthers taking on the Arlington Renegades. Bryce, appreciate your time, man.
Man, thank you guys so much.
What an absolute surgeon Bryce Perkins is, TPG. I mean, he's there bringing up a 3rd and 1 that he missed in the flat. After that game, I mean, I didn't see any negative film from him on Sunday, and here he is still finding things he can improve on. And that's bad news for their opponent coming up this week. Let's go right into it. It's Michigan at Arlington. Panthers, the 2.5-point road favorite here. Totals 42.5. The forecast for Dallas is 73 and sunny with a slight breeze. Not as bad of wind as we normally get in Dallas. I know, usually we talk about our teams, either DC or St. Louis right off the top, but this one's hard to ignore as game of the week. And, we did mention, and we saw this come out on Twitter this week, Kalen Ballage, Arlington's top tailback, out for the year with a shoulder injury that he suffered in the second quarter of that loss to St. Louis. And, man, that's crushing for him because I think he was on his way to an all UFL type of season. He's 2nd in the league in rushing, 3rd in the league in yards per carry amongst all running backs, and he was getting 11, 12, 13 touches a game. So it's a hard guy to replace. They're going to turn to Day Hunter and Davion Smith. Hunter, solid in the second half, I guess you could say, in Ballage's absence, and I guess he was really probably one of the only bright spots offensively in that second half for Arlington. That offense just looked like a shell of itself. Luis Perez, man, what are you doing? He's gone 3 straight games now with interception, and I don't know. He used to be lovable, but right now it seems like he's blaming his receivers and he's, begging for penalties on every hit. So he didn't take that St. Louis loss lightly. He got punished by that front seven. And, he fumbled twice, and now it looks like he's going to be without his center, TPG, Jake Johanning, not practicing with a concussion. So it's hard to say that this is 100% a bounce back spot for Perez. I mean, they've only really had probably one good game that I can remember through the air, and that was against DC week 5. Outside of that, we know this offense has really struggled. And luckily, their defense has carried them to the position they're in, still in the playoff hunt. So they just give up way too many sacks. I know people want to blame the O-line, but it's kind of on Perez as well because he's so uncomfortable outside the pocket. Yeah, penalties are a problem. Turnovers are a problem. Things got really bad Friday against St. Louis. But again, I forgive them because we know who the script writers had to win that game with all those flags that were being thrown on Arlington. So,
oh my gosh.
But ultimately, they couldn't hold on to the ball. They have 6 fumbles. That leads the UFL. It's losing them games. Can that pass game correct itself against a depleted Michigan secondary? They lost Levante Taylor out for the year, one of their starting corners. Doesn't it seem to you like this defense is ravaged by injuries, right? Like Breland Speaks went out right away. They had a couple other starters. So I think they could still, have enough depth there to stop Arlington's mediocre run game. But I could see Luis settling in and finding some openings in this defense. 3 in a row against XFL teams for the Panthers. That's a really tough part of the schedule to go DC, St. Louis, Arlington. Or Michigan. If they could find a way to go 2-1 in that stretch, the Panthers, I think, that's probably all you can ask for them. So, I would say you think about last year, the instant classic that this was in Ford Field. I mean, Jake Bates with one of several game winners happened in this spot. I think there was a bad offsides call that Michigan got away with, that were an offsides that wasn't called that Michigan got away with. Ended up Arlington losing their 6th straight. So Day Hunter tore his ACL celebrating in that game. So
my gosh, I do remember that.
Yeah, it was a disaster for Arlington. They lost by 1, lost Hunter, and they had a bad call. It was rough, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm still thinking about this pick, even as we continue to throw it to you. And, probably some revenge on the mind for Arlington here right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is the hardest game to pick, in my opinion. And, when you just look at it, right, Michigan's the obvious pick. But, Matt, do you really think Arlington's going to lose 3 straight? Do you think?
Kind of what I'm yeah, I mean, it's hard to bet against Bryce right now. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. That's where I find myself hesitant on Arlington.
Exactly. And I mean, it's tough to say, but what we do know is that the Renegades, I feel like, play better when they're at home versus on the road. In 3 of their 4 home games this year, they have scored 30 points or more, whereas the 2 games on the road, they've failed to put up 10 points. So I'm kind of believing in the Renegades. I feel like this is a potential bounce back spot for them. And why I think this is because I think this Arlington front 7 is going to match up really well with this Michigan offensive line. Renegades limiting their opponents to 3.9 yards per carry this season, and they lead the league in sacks with 18. So, and that's exactly what they need to do to slow down Perkins. They can't let him get comfortable. They got to force him, get some pressure on him, and force him into making some bad decisions. And also, Matt, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been fading our guests ever since we had Roland back on in week 4. Makes me kind of look like a scumbag, and maybe players don't want to come on anymore, but it has worked out pretty well for me. I've been hitting every week. So as my favorite capper once said, I am going to eat from the contrarian side of the buffet, and I like the Renegades in this one to win. And regardless, Matt, of this outcome, it's still a win-win situation for me because either Arlington wins and I win my bet, or Michigan wins and Arlington's completely out of the playoff picture. So the only thing I really have to lose is money, which is, nothing new to me.
Well, between fading our guests and the power poll, having number 1 lose every single week, maybe those are 2 trends that we need to follow. Also got Michigan number 1 in Sunday's power poll. So the signs could be pointing to the Renegades. You're talking me into it, TVG. I can't believe I'm doing it with the Renegades, but I'm going to go Arlington here. I agree. I think this defense is too good to let them go 3-4. If there's one front that can stop this Michigan ground game, it's Arlington. And if you know anything about the UFL, you know that Arlington's offense can't possibly play as bad as they did last week against St. Louis. And also, I highly doubt Bryce Perkins is going to break 21 tackles again. or will he? You know, I got to be careful here, right? Because last week I said Michigan can't win anything significant. Here we are now. Here I'm saying Bryce Perkins can't duplicate his performance. Maybe he can. But long story short, I don't think Arlington is the better team long term. But I do have them pulling an upset here. Also kind of lean the under with two solid defenses. Although, be careful with that because Michigan is lighting it up. 30 points a game in their last 4 outings. Quick note, by the way. Kind of wanted to get your thoughts on this, too. We gave Michigan a lot of shit for that Marcus Sims trade. I got to apologize. They were right. Where's Marcus Sims right now, TPG?
He's on the IR, isn't he?
He's on a milk carton. Hasn't done a thing.
I mean, and plus, a part of that, too, is, like, we didn't know how good Malik Turner is. This guy's been a stud ever since, just because, like, there wasn't enough volume in that offense. But, like, we knew Mariner was good.
Too? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we knew Mariner was good, but, like, Turner, I mean, kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I don't think he was on the team last year. I don't know much about his background either, but he's had an amazing
they got
season.
a lot of flack for that trade, and I know it was for Cam Carter. He's actually active now. He's starting to suit up as the 6th lineman. So if somebody goes down, Cam Carter's getting plugged in, which arguably makes him a more valuable player than Marcus Sims with his torn hamstring, you know, riding the pine. So I want to apologize. You know, I've been backtracking with a lot of things that I thought Michigan did wrong. I'll stick to my guns that Mike Nolan's an idiot. But from there, I got to apologize for basically everything, especially after talking to Bryce for about a half an hour. So we're both going Arlington.
That's kind of scary. Now I want to flip, but
that's disgusting, honestly.
Michigan is the public side though. Like we've seen this line move from 1 to 3, I think it is now. So
they're their best team in the league on paper right now.
Yeah, no, they are. I agree.
They probably were heading into the DC game as well, and I ignored it because I didn't think it was against good competition. But they proved they could do it against the best too. So they, on paper, absolutely, there's plenty of reason to bet Michigan here, but again, really hard to win 2 in a row in this league. Extremely difficult, especially when you're playing really good teams. So we'll put the bow on that one. Let's go to redemption time for Shannon Harris and co. DC and San Antonio. Friday night in the Alamo Dome. Defenders the 8.5-point road favorite here. Totals at 36.5. Man, for San Antonio, quite literally rock bottom for the Rock's favorite team. They've scored a combined 6 points the last 2 games. To make matters worse, now without their best 2 players in Anthony McFarland and Jacob Harris, both injured. Honestly, even with McFarland, this run game was atrocious. 24 yards on the ground last week against Birmingham for a whopping 1.8 a carry. And sure, you could say Kevin Hogan did some nice things in the pass game last week, but they still went 0 for 10 on 3rd down. 0 for 10. TPG, I think me, you, and 9 listeners could convert 1 3rd down, especially if the play calls GTFO.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're getting open.
If we had AJ Smith as our OC, we're definitely converting.
We got 1 3rd down. We'll go at least 1 for 10, not 0 for 10. They went 0 for 10.
I could fit it into a tight window, especially against that Stallion secondary. Oh. Easily.
Haven't seen any flea flickers in the league. Like, run something.
Yeah, that is true.
You got to convert a
double pass. We haven't seen double. Is that still a thing? I don't even know.
It is double forward pass. We haven't seen it. What's going on, man? So anyway, I'm not going to sit here and bore you with, how do these teams match up? Because they don't. They don't. DC's better in every area. I don't care what happened in week 4. Defenders had 99 penalties. They gave up a punt return touchdown. It's not happening again. It's not happening again. I will say it's time to have a conversation about the DC defense, right? I grade teams every Monday from what I saw the prior week. And I grade them in all categories: pass offense, pass defense, rush offense, rush defense, what have you. Ever since that dominant day the DC defense had against St. Louis in week 3, where they literally looked like the 85 Bears out there, every week since then, I've downgraded them pretty significantly. And they're barely a top 4 defense for me right now. Now, losing all 3 starting safeties has been detrimental. Taylor Hawkins, Sam Kidd, Monte Nicholson. I mean, that's the most important position on this Greg/Blake Williams defense. They've had to throw Deontay Anderson in there, and he's not cutting it. I mean, he's been missing tackles, committing dumb penalties, and in this defense, you got to have 5 defensive backs out there, and the safeties are becoming a liability. And don't get me started on the run defense either. Like, just disappointed by these linebackers against Michigan. I mean, Perkins, Tawa, and McCrary, those guys wanted to hit DC linebackers harder than the linebackers wanted to hit them. Like, they were taking the violence to these guys, and that's just opposite of what you think DC is supposed to be. So the question becomes, should we have expected this decline with Blake Williams trying to take over for his dad on the fly? I don't think so. I don't necessarily blame Blake. I mean, it's the same scheme, right? So in theory, it should work. And you heard Shannon Harris, I brought it up in the Perkins interview, talking about how, Michigan didn't beat us schematically. It was all fundamentals and all execution. So I don't know. It's the first time last Sunday DC didn't force a single turnover or get a single sack. Like, of course you're going to lose by 30. Like, that's what makes this team go, the turnovers and the sacks. So I kind of said this with Birmingham last week. DC's lucky they have San Antonio right now because they need a get-right spot. You got to get right here. You got to take your anger out against an inferior opponent who embarrassed you in front of your home crowd, TPG, last time in week 4.
Yeah, like when we had Roland on a couple weeks ago and we asked him, and he said that Blake's been calling the defense the whole time. Like, I don't know if I'm buying it anymore because, yeah, this defense has looked way different than it did the first 2 weeks of the season. So I guess you kind of alluded to this, but I do have a question for you. So is the DC defense not as good as we thought it was at the beginning of the season? Or is this just like just because they had to go through that tough 2-game stretch playing 2 good offenses on the road?
I overreacted after week 1, and then I really overreacted after week 3. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like I said, they're not a top 4. They're barely, I mean, they probably are 4th, but like barely right now. Like it's been a consistent downgrade the last couple games.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and obviously with injuries, like that's it doesn't make things easy when you don't have like your quote unquote starters in. But they got San Antonio this week, and as you mentioned, Matt, this is kind of a double revenge spot for them. Coming off the loss to the Brahmas in week 4 and losing to the Panthers last week. And not to mention, I think this DC offense really matches up well with this San Antonio secondary. Statistically, we've said this many times, there's been nobody better than Tiamu this season. And even in their 2 losses, right? I don't put that on Jordan at all. More so, I'm putting it on the defense because they just laid an absolute egg. But on the flip side, Brahma's secondary is bad, super bad. And they just traded one of their starting corners, Darius Phillips, to Memphis. So now you got a second team guy in. So I think Jordan is pretty much due for another big day. And this is an absolute no-brainer. I agree with you. Defenders get a chance to bounce back and split this series 1-1. Back on Sunday, after we had our show, I grabbed this line immediately at 6.5. But I would feel comfortable taking this up to what's it at now, 8.5. I'd even feel comfortable laying double digits if it came to it. So I agree. San Antonio's on auto fade. They don't look great, and I don't see much light at the end of the tunnel for this team as I do, Memphis, as a matter of fact. So there are some anytime touchdown scores that came out already on the Bet ESPN app. So giving you a couple that I like. I love Jordan rushing touchdown plus 300 and plus 335. Oh my gosh, Matt. That was brutal. Because if DC's going to run one in, it's probably going to be because Jordan runs it in, not either Abram Smith or Deion Jackson. So I like Tamu rushing touchdown. I kind of went back and forth with this too. What receiver I think is going to score? I landed on Cornell Powell at plus 315. So I like him. He was inactive, or he was active last week, but he didn't record any stats. So maybe he's fresh this week. He'll get a score. He scored back in week what was that? Week 5 against Arlington. So like for him to bounce back. And my favorite anytime touchdown prop bet of the so far in this game, Aiden Robbins at plus 750, which is absolutely unreal value. It's part of the reason why I like it. But and I know San Antonio hasn't scored in 2 weeks, right? But if they do get on the goal line, we've seen that they like to put him in because he's like, the more stocky, powerful dude. Plus, he had 2 rushing touchdowns against DC last time they played. So Aiden Robbins at plus 750, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and you have to figure DC probably scores, 3 or 4 times here at least. I don't know if I want to say like great minds think alike or if you've been popping in the Google Drive, peeking at my notes, because I'm pretty much going to say the same thing you did here. Very few times have the stars aligned in the UFL the way they have in this spot for DC. And let me remove every single bias I have. Like I could even take my hat off if my headphones weren't on right now and just tell you this as a straight sports gambler and not a DC Defenders fan. Like, this is with my head. This is not with my heart. This is the single most automatic bet we've had the last 7 weeks. And here's why. It checks every single box you want as a bettor when you're looking to back a favorite. Number 1, revenge game. You don't have to get DC up for this game. There's built-in motivation to slaughter this team after that week 4 debacle. Number 2, it's a bounce back spot. Coming off that Michigan loss, they had the toughest week of practice all season. Trust me, they are not happy in that locker room right now. Number 3, this is an awful short week for San Antonio. Their road game against Birmingham ended around 6:30 Central on Sunday, which means they didn't get back to HQ in Dallas until about midnight. They had to practice the next day, Tuesday and Wednesday, travel today, and then play tomorrow. They're on 0 rest right now. And you could rebuttal and say, sure, it's the same with DC, who also played Sunday. That game was much earlier in the day. Able to get back to HQ much earlier. So, plus, I think going from Eastern to Central time, they gained an hour going back to Dallas. So, I mean, they got plenty of sleep Sunday night. San Antonio did not. That is detrimental for a bad team that's already decimated by injuries. They had 0 chance to do any recovery. And number 4, Kellen Mond, Anthony McFarland, Jacob Harris, Greg Ward. That's over 65% of their offensive production inactive. Every single one of them. San Antonio was so thin at receiver, they had to trade for D. Anderson. It wasn't an option. That's just so they could get 5 receivers dressed and have personnel and not have to play DBs at receiver. That's why some NFL teams might be able to use Travis Hunter, by the way. But anyway, you could say Kevin Hogan played well. He's a bit of an upgrade, but like you said, this is still a no-brainer. I gave it out as an early lean on Sunday. If you got that when we did, then you beat the books to the move. It's now 8.5. We had it 6.5. It's probably going to climb. I wouldn't be shocked if it gets to 10. I don't care if it's 15. Play it. This is going to be a complete bloodbath. DC getting their revenge Friday night. Sell the wife, sell the kids, sell the swing set. Every penny you got in the balance on this play. Do not miss the best chance you'll get to make a bet on the UFL this season. Trust me, it's a absolute certified lock.
Is this Boulevard game of the year? Will you go on quote and say that?
This is by far the most I've ever placed on a game in spring football. Let's just
yeah.
I got down as much as I possibly could on 6.5. Okay. Every point it goes up, I would take a unit off, or maybe not a full unit off. Maybe take like a quarter unit off. So what you're used to betting, divide
be sure
by
to
4
specify 6.5
for maybe every point it goes up.
Yeah, be sure to specify 6.5 because the sharps might come after us again.
Yeah, right. That's what I have. I'm telling you, I'd play it up to 10 probably, but at a lesser amount, right? Be smart with your money. But yeah, that's crazy. It opened at 6.5. That's just free money. Let's go to the next one. Houston and Birmingham. Stallions, 6-point home favorite, total 38.5. Forecast for Mother's Day in Birmingham, 65 and cloudy. Winds gusty up to 30 miles an hour, so I can smell the under already. We'll get to that a little later. Last meeting was a 23-16 Stallion win, week 4. All right, let's talk the issue here. The Stallions quarterback carousel. Give you a little history lesson. Alex Magoo starts week 1 out with a separated shoulder by week 2. Enter Matt Corral. Wins 3 straight, out by week 5 with broken ribs. Enter Case Cookus. He loses to 0-4 Memphis. Now all of a sudden, Skip wants to rotate quarterbacks. Enter Andrew Peasley. Plays like, 2 or 3 drives against San Antonio, blows his knee out. Re-enter Cookus. But then he's on the sideline saying his knee feels like a watermelon. So this is a disaster. And let me say right now, May 8th, 2025, heading into week 7, if Birmingham somehow finds a way to win a 4th straight championship with Case Cookus at quarterback, I will kiss a pile of horse shit live on this show. It's not happening. Not with Case Cookus. Not with Case Cookus. If they can find a way to get Magoo back off IR, Corral miraculously returns and plays in the playoffs, maybe. It's not, Case Cookus is not winning a championship. This offense is too one-dimensional. They throw it 58% of the time. They got no run game. Now a bright spot. They do get Cole Schneider back. Probably their best lineman. And you're going to talk about the defense. I know the front seven's elite. They get 2 or 3 guys back in the secondary as well. But you've got to have outstanding quarterback play to win a championship in this league. We've seen it. Perez, XFL 2023. Martinez, UFL 2024. You don't win a title with a one-legged Case Cookus. You don't do it. So when you talk about just this game, instead of talking about their championship hopes, I think this is going to be the first real sign that they can't win a title because Houston has a damn good secondary. 6 interceptions through 6 games right now. And they get Damon Arnett back, who's arguably their top corner for this one. You heard C.J. Johnson say in his presser last week, what do we do well? We rush the passer and we cover. And that's true. Now, they do have one of their top pass rushers not practicing this week with Deshaun Bauer. I think they'll still be okay. They're solid on 3rd down. Cole Schneider's back. Maybe that shores up things a little bit offensively. They get a leader back. But I don't see Birmingham getting to 20 here. I mean, they struggled to score 20 against Houston with Matt Corral out there, TPJ. I don't think they could do it with Cookus.
Yeah, it should be interesting in this one. But when looking at the offense, I was going to make this point later, but since you're talking about the quarterbacks, I'll make it now. I do expect to see Jamar Smith in this game, especially if Cookus, if that knee's is banged up as he was saying on the sidelines. And a little background for everyone about Jamar Smith, because I know we have a big XFL audience and maybe not everyone tuned into the USFL, but Jamar Smith was the year 1 starter for the Birmingham Stallions back in 2022, and before that, he was a 4-year starter at Louisiana Tech under Skip Holtz. So he knows this offense like the back of his hand. So if he comes in, right, he's not another new face. Like he's ran this offense for many years, and it's not going to be like Cookus out there against Memphis where he like doesn't know where the ball is going. Like Jamar Smith is going to know where the ball is going, and personally, I think that's probably your best move right now if you want to, make a run at this title, is put Jamar Smith in there. He got you to the championship year 1, so I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to do it again. So that's my 2 cents to it. So anyways, just looking at this game from a betting standpoint, right? I think a lot of people are going to be high on Houston coming off those back-to-back wins and are going to take them in this game to, cover or possibly win. But I think this game's going to come down to coaching, and Skip is the far superior coach to CJ Johnson. Yes, has Houston made it close against Birmingham in past games? Absolutely. But I think this dominating win by the Stallions last week against San Antonio has got this team on track. Houston's win over Memphis last week was impressive. I'm not trying to discredit them, but they were outgained by the Showboats by 70-plus yards, and that's not a recipe for success, and it's not going to get you past an even better Birmingham Stallions defense. So I could see McClendon, having success in the pass game because, like I said earlier, I don't think this Birmingham secondary is very good, but if Houston is going to win this game, McClendon's going to have to do some Superman stuff and put the team on his back. And you know what? I really just don't see that happening. I'm not really buying it. So since Houston's the public side, I'm going to fade the public. I like Birmingham to win and cover this game.
Yeah, give me Birmingham. Ugly. I could see something like 15-12. Maybe the thicker kicker is the difference, right? He sends like 3 or 4 through in the wind. He's been having a hell of a year, by the way. I know your boy Goggles is the one getting all the love, but Mevis, man, he's rocketing balls. He's a good kicker. Yeah, so for me, it comes down to Houston's awful ground game. I mean, they're dead last in the league in run rate. Kirk Merritt's hurt again. Typical Kirk Merritt, made of glass. I mean, I don't think anybody in spring football gets hurt more than Kirk Merritt. Maybe Anthony McFarland, but the Roughnecks, what do you say? They'll hang around. They muck it up. They cover. They always cover as an underdog. And, you know, now that you're on Birmingham, I kind of want to take Houston +6, but I think I'll talk myself into I'll talk myself into the under instead. Think about it. It's a windy mess, 11 a.m. local kick, 2 bad offenses waking up early to play on Mother's Day. Like, you know, I think this is an under spot. I know the overs have been trending up lately, but I think we go back and do what worked in the beginning of the season. Grab us an under at 38.5 for this one.
Don't get all Aaron Dolan on me telling me how many overs are hitting in a row.
Yeah, well, it kind of fell off last week a little bit. So.
But I do. How about you take Houston plus the 6? I'll take Birmingham -6, and whoever wins has to eat a giant hot steaming pile of horseshit.
No, not for this one. But I will promise I'll stick to that. What I said about Case Cookers. Right. If it's Case Cookers, they're quite literally cooked.
Jamar Smith is our savior then, because that show will do crazy numbers. Matt eats shit.
I won't do it if it's any other quarterback. It's Cookus, or if I will only kiss a pile of horse shit if Case Cookus is the one who wins this thing. Let me make that clear. If it's Peasley, if it's Smith, if it's, I don't know, AJ McCarron, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Cookus kid. He's literally on one leg. He's like a pirate out there. All right, let's get to the TPG Bowl here. His 2 favorite teams squaring off. It's St. Louis and Memphis. Battlehawks, pretty short road favorite here. Just 4 points. Totals at 39. Forecast for the Liberty Bowl, 71 and cloudy Sunday with a bit of a breeze. I don't know, sort of a snooze fest here offensively. I could see probably the first 1 to 15 winning this game. Maybe worth considering another under. Honestly, for me, the most exciting thing about this game is the you mentioned it, the $2 cold beers, $2 hot dogs. I think kids under 12 get in free. Can we take a second to applaud the boats, by the way? That's great. I mean, I know. That should
have been across the league. Kids under 12 should get in for free every game. Like,
they can't do that.
It'd be great. Hey, bring the parents, make them pay for the tickets. Bring the kids. I mean, you'll definitely get your attendance numbers up.
Well, this is what happens when you're in crisis mode. You're getting desperate, and I'm cool with it. You know, they have league low attendance, they have league low social media following, probably league low fan interest, but hell, it's a great place to take Meemaw out, for Mother's Day, and bring some grandkids. You can watch West Tennessee's prodigal son, Dresser win, slinging around the Liberty Bowl like an hour from where he grew up. I know you want to go to this game, TPG, but you've been talking of going to a Memphis game to me for a while now. This seems like the perfect spot. It's a shame it's on Mother's Day for you.
Yeah, I know. I would love to go. Well, I would rather wait until that whole construction project's done and I get to see, the Liberty Bowl in full and not half, but maybe next year we'll try to make it down to Memphis for a game.
I cannot wait to clip that when Memphis moves to Louisville next year.
It might be better. That actually might be better for him.
Oh, Louisville,
it might be better.
If there's any market, we don't talk expansion on this show. We leave that to the other idiots in this space. But if there is expansion, I think they're going to Louisville.
I do have some expansion talk planned. Like I have a take brewing in my head for the future, but this is not the time.
You think it's Chicago, and it's not gonna be.
No. I would be the first to say Chicago is not a good expansion city. There's too much competition here.
All right, so let's get into
2 baseball teams.
Before I get a headache here. We got to keep our policy, TPG. No expansion, no ratings, no attendance.
Yep. That's until later on. Attendance. Until later on, because I do have a take I want to get off my chest about it. But Not today.
So let's get the bad news out of the way for St. Louis fans. Starting right guard Abdul Beecham out for the year. Missed some time early on, but I think he was just starting to find his footing a little bit. That's a pretty big blow to this O-line. And you know, when you think about this O-line, shockingly, they've given up the most sacks in the entire UFL. They did not hold up well against Arlington. I think Duggan got sacked 6 times. Arlington had 7 TFLs. And, you know, you would have thought coming in, it's a dominant O-line. 273 on the ground week 1. But they've regressed since then. And this offense has really become as simple as, you know, you run the piss out of the ball, you lob it up for Butler, hope he makes a play. Like, that's literally all they do. And maybe he draws a DPI in there, gets some first down. But when there's 0 corners that can go man-to-man down the sideline with him, that's probably a pretty good strategy. I mean, even Jaden Price got scored on last week. So we should keep an eye on it, though, because Butler's status is in question. Missed practice with an illness. But PETA missed practice last week for being sick, and he ended up winning Defensive Player of the Week. So I think they'll be fine. They're just passing along some suds there at HQ. So we assume Hakeem's good to go. What do we know about Memphis defensively? Led by Steel Chambers, leads the UFL in solo tackles right now. Playing pretty well last couple outings. They held Houston under 70 on the ground. We'll put it this way. It wasn't Jaron Horton's fault they lost to Houston. Like, I put that one solely on Jim Turner. Bad game management. Pretty awful O-line play, which is also Jim Turner's group. People forget. He's the O-line coach there. So I'll give the edge to Battlehawks offense here. I know Jacob Sailors has been a name we haven't mentioned lately. He's been pretty quiet, but I think it's a great spot here for him to get back on the map and maybe get a 100-yard game.
Yeah, that'd be great. He popped off against the Showboats last year. I believe he had like 103 rushing yards when he played them last year. I know it's a different team, but I think he is a Tennessee kid too. So
yeah,
maybe, traveling back home, maybe he's due for a big game. But looking at this Battlehawks defense, right, I think they had one of the more dominating performances we've ever seen in spring football last week, holding the Spring King to only 6 points, forcing 4 turnovers. And this was all without Austin Fielu, one of their key vocal points on the defensive line. So really great stuff from that unit, and I absolutely love what I'm seeing. But on the flip side, looking at this Memphis offense, I'll admit, like, this run game has been much improved ever since Mazzone took over. But I really just don't see Memphis having success running the football against this stout Battlehawks defense. You know, Wes Hills comes in last week, provides them a little bit of a spark, but you got to be honest with yourself. Like, this dude's washed. Like, there's a reason why he's not getting picked up until, what is this, week 7 or week 6 last week. So, and even Michigan didn't even want him when Colburn went down. So, like, what does that have to say about it? I'm not really high on this Memphis run game one bit. So, I think Donnie Abraham, Battlehawks DC, he's going to make Memphis beat him through the air, right? And it's going to just be an uphill battle for this team the whole time. So Battlehawks also leading the league in interceptions. This is, Dresser wins coming home party. So maybe, he pulls something off, but I don't know. I'm just not seeing it. Also, you mentioned earlier, D. Anderson gets traded this week, who is Ben Dresser's go-to target across the 2 games. Like, he's had, I want to say, about like 14 targets across those 2 games. So I know they're getting Daywood back, but it's an addition by subtraction. But Daywood hasn't played all year. So he's definitely has some rust that he's got to work off. So I just don't see much of an edge for Memphis against this St. Louis team. And St. Louis is just better. Matt, I do have a couple points to make, a couple points. So if you could give me some Pat McAfee what's after I make them, that'd be great. So, St. Louis, they got the better players.
What?
They got the better coach.
What?
They got the better fans.
What?
And they got the better GM.
What? That's Stone Cold Steve Austin, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't you disrespect Stone Cold.
That is true. I know Pat McAfee does it, but that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. Anyways, I do think this is a get-right spot for this St. Louis offense, too, and Duggan. So I absolutely love the Battlehawks this week to sink the boats.
Yeah, I'm curious what they set Daywood's props at because, yeah, he might have to shake off some rust, but look what Hakeem Butler did when he came back, right? Like, could we see a similar game out of Davis? And I know CPJ is, like, pretty locked-down corner, but I'm guessing Davis's props, if they even list them, are going to be pretty low. I might be looking to take a couple overs there. He's a great deep threat, and they gave him a week, in practice to get ready for this. So I'm taking the Battlehawks here as well. They're actually 4-2 against the spread, which is tied for first in the league with Houston. So I did consider laying the 4, but I worry about the ruts that this offense gets into, man. Like we saw against Arlington, I think 5 or 6 drives in a row, they went 3 and out. I don't know. So I trust that maybe they'll find ways to get Butler the ball, like they always do. And, to everybody else, it seems like Max Duggan is regressing. I think he's improving. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I think with every rep, he's getting more comfortable in this offense. And he's playing through pain, right? Like he got battered last week with those 6 sacks, taking hits on every scramble he has. So anytime you got a kicker like Goggles, who now, by the way, is a perfect 14 for 14, that makes St. Louis a really solid team to back as a favorite against a Memphis team with a head coach who wants to punt from the plus 35 if he has the opportunity to do so. So
Hello?
He just completely give up on his offense, Jim Turner.
All right, I'll be up in a sec. Hey, wait, I got the delivery drivers here for my mom's Mother's Day gift. So
trying to save face now.
Let me give me a sec.
Yeah. Couldn't take the mom out to Yacht Club in Memphis, so now trying to save face with a gift. Perfect time to go to Best Bets. In Week 7, we're 9-9 overall on the air. Not going to lie, it's been tough with sides and totals, but we're not going to give up yet because I do want to be 55% by year's end. Let's bounce back with 2 plays this week. I've got one that's in a category of its own. I mentioned all this earlier. DC to cover. I have it locked in at the 6.5 since Sunday night. I would play it at the current number of 8.5, just take a little bit off the top, and probably even a little bit higher for lower money. Again, everything working in DC's favor here. You have the revenge game, head-to-head revenge with San Antonio, but also bounce-back spot off the loss. Awful travel for the Brahmas in their spot with the quick turnaround. Play Sunday night, now straight into Friday. All their good players are hurt, every single one of them. So I'm heavy on DC here, max play. I want to go Houston, Birmingham under the 38.5 as well. 2 offenses that are struggling. We mentioned waking up at 11 a.m. local to play in 30-mile-an-hour winds. Overs have been popular. We're going back to the under. Also, looked at something that TPG will probably like. You can get a DC St. Louis money line parlay right now, priced it out about minus 130. Okay, DC, St. Louis, both going up probably against the 2 worst teams in the league. I know they're both on the road, so we get scared a little bit with road favorites, and that's part of my reason I'm not taking the Battlehawks minus 4. But if you want to forget about the points, just do those 2 straight teams to win. Go 2 for 2. It's minus 120, just about even money there. So I think that any thoughts on that play, TPG, since you missed Best Bets again?
I like it, but like you said, road favorites are tough. But quick little editor's note: I hope you covered me with the graphics so you don't have me coming back this week.
Yeah, we'll leave that to our unnamed producer. Definitely not my fault, right? Definitely not mine. It's the damn interns around here, man. We can't get them to do their damn job.
Gotta find some better people. I don't know what to say.
Write some performance reviews.
Yeah.
we might have to hire the guy we have coming up next. You did some surprise content with one of our day 1 listeners behind the scenes at the Battle Dome. Check it out.
So we're here at the Battle Dome, Friday Night Football. I met up with one of the Springball Boulevard's biggest supporters, Nick Hand. Nick, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Hey, not only is he Springball Boulevard's biggest supporter, but he's also a season ticket holder Battlehawks fan. Got us hooked up in the club seat. Can't thank you any much. So
Anybody who gives Matty a hard time is a friend of mine.
hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. So since he hooked it up, I said, hey, Nick, we're going to give you some Battlehawk trivia, right? And if you can complete all 5 questions, you're going to get 5 smackaroos.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I forgot to hit the ATM before this. There's supposed to be a lot more, but we're just going to go with whatever's in my wallet. All right, Nick. So the first question is, who is the Battlehawks' all-time leading receiver?
Hakeem Butler.
Ding, ding, ding. That's an easy one. I'm going to give you
I
a
bet
little...
I'll get that right when I have his
Yeah,
jersey.
exactly. He's got the jersey on. Of course he's going to get that right. I will say, these first two questions are a little bit easier, and then it's going to get a little bit harder. Second question. Who is the Battlehawks' all-time leading passer?
AJ McCarron.
There you go. There you go. Super easy. All right. Now, this is where things get a little bit harder for you, right? You kind of passed level 1. Now you're on to level 2. So, what NFL team drafted Anthony Beck in the first round of the 2000 NFL Draft?
I believe it's the New York Jets.
Ding, ding, ding. He's got it right, folks.
I'm a Tampa
He's
guy,
3 for
so
3.
Tampa was in my head.
He's
but
3 for
New York
3.
Jets.
He's on fire right now. All right. The Battlehawks' first franchise win came against this team in 2020.
Arlington.
Ding, ding, ding. Hey, they were then the Dallas Renegades.
Dallas Renegades,
Now
I'm
they're
sorry.
the Arlington
Yes.
Renegades. I'm going to let it slide because he is right. All right. So, you're 4 for 4 right now.
Okay.
You're feeling really good. We got this last question coming up. If you get it right, I got a bonus question for you.
Okay.
So, what was the name of the player who returned a kickoff for a touchdown in the 2020 Dome opener? Initials JP.
Jahar Pearson.
Just chill. They already know what it is, man. Can't be fucked with.
No.
I'll give you a second chance. I'll give you a second chance on this one.
It's not coming to me. I'm having a blank on it.
Joe Powell.
Joe Paul. Hey, didn't Matty Fresh go like 4 for 5 on his trivia?
Yes, he did go 4
So
for 5.
Matty and I share something.
Exactly. You and Matt. All right. Well, I will give you a bonus question, though.
Okay.
To win the $5 on the table.
Okay.
Who scored the franchise's first ever touchdown in 2020? This one's not very easy. I'll give you that. It's not very
Was
easy.
it Hill? No. I know it's
You're
not Tomlin.
you're
I
on
thought
the
it
right
was-
track.
I thought it was Hill. but
You're
it's
on the
not
right
Hill.
track.
It
I
was
don't-
running back, wasn't it?
It's a running back, but I don't know if you're
man.
gonna get it. It is a tough one. I'm not gonna lie.
COVID unfortunately wiped a lot of my memory out from that time. Who is it?
Keith Ford.
Keith Ford.
Running back, a 16-yard touchdown against the Dallas Renegades. But, Nick, thank you for playing Battlehawk Trivia with you.
Thank you for messing with
It's
Matty
been
always.
awesome. Hey, just because you've been just a good sport about it, I'm going to give you the 5 smackaroos.
Thank you very much.
Everyone's going to call me cheap, but you know what?
It's good.
Forgot to hit the ATM before, but hey.
Maddie, we look forward to seeing you at the Dome, or maybe even the XFL Championship, since apparently there's a women's soccer game that's more important for DC. So, sorry about that.
He will be here. Well, Nick, thank you so much for
Thank
playing.
you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Was $5 even enough for Nick Stradamus to get a Bud Select? I mean,
No,
he didn't have to earn the money. He didn't have to earn the money. You just gave it to him. I mean,
I was gonna, I was gonna go hit up an ATM. I had a hard time tracking one down at a bar, and then at the last bar I was at before I got in the stadium, completely, I was all filled with Busch Light at that point, so I completely blanked on hitting up the ATM. So when I opened up my wallet, I was like, great, all I got is $5 bill and a scratch off, like, not great. So
come on, Nick. Everybody
And I was
knows.
holding-
Everybody knows Keith Ford. This guy's a fake fan. I kid. He's a very real fan. I didn't know who Keith Ford was either.
That one was tough. I mean, I was really reaching for one at the end because I wanted to. It's kind of hard to come up with these because there's not many options. So I really had to go back for that one, and I didn't even know. I had to watch back that full game replay to figure out, all right, who actually scored the first touchdown. But I thought his Hill guess was pretty good, pretty spot on, I would say. But
well, according to Jay Sternberger, you were what, like 10 or 11 back then? So
yeah, that's true. That's true. I was back in middle school.
Probably weren't paying too much attention, but no.
No.
The one question I would have added if I was asked, of course I wasn't, is what team thinks they have the best fans but have never appeared in a championship game? That would probably would have been a layup for Nick.
No comment.
I can't wait to meet you, Nick. I hope you come June 14th, even if your team's not in it. Maybe see a little DC Michigan part 2, huh?
Hey, I do have something to say because you were slandering that whole rule change at the beginning, and you know what? The Battlehawks don't need it. Out of the entire XFL, right? What team has the best defense? The Battlehawks. What team can run the ball the best? The Battlehawks. Who's the best special teams? The Battlehawks, right? Quarterback play, definitely behind, DC and Arlington, but I mean, they have 3 out of 4. Pretty damn strong. So they don't need the damn rule change. They're gonna lock up this thing. And you know what? Who cares about DC not even hosting? Because St. Louis has taken that 1 seed, baby.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah,
really?
Sure.
Really? You think they're taking the 1 seed now?
Yeah, I think so.
Jeez.
I mean, what do they have to do? They
You give this guy a 12-6
win
win, and look what happens. My God, bro. All right.
Throw out the
You did beat Michigan. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
That. I can't wait for Week 10. I've got it circled on the calendar. Friday night in Audi Field. If Audi Field doesn't get a playoff game, and that's confirmed, I'll do my best to hype that up as a playoff atmosphere because that's the closest you're going to get on a Friday night. So that'll be fun. All right, plug the socials and we'll get out of here.
Instagram, TikTok, at Springball, BLVD. Follow, like, comment, share, do all that good stuff. And let us be the first to wish all the moms out there a happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, for the St. Louis Scumbag TPG, I'm Matty Fresh. Hug your mom this weekend, but also introduce her to the UFL. Maybe she'll like Bryce Perkins. He's a pretty attractive guy. You always remember, there is no such thing as football season. We'll see you Sunday night.